A number of years ago, Tennessee Crossroads paid a visit to a place called the Whitestone Inn near Kingston, Tennessee, up in the east part of the state. And like many such places, it was a dream home for the owners, but also a work in progress. Well, recently, Al Vex paid a return visit to see how that dream is unfolding.
As people travel around the state, many find some of these little off-the-beaten-path places that they like to consider their own little treasure, their own little secret. They don't want anybody else to find out about it. Well, there is one such place just south of Kingston on the banks of Watts Bar Lake. It's called Whitestone. And for those who have found this secret little treasure, sorry, the word is out. Whitestone is a country inn secluded on more than 250 acres of Tennessee woodlands. It hasn't been here very long, but then it hasn't taken people very long to realize what a treasure it is. Paul and Jean Cowell built Whitestone from the ground up, and it fulfills a long-time dream.
It is a dream come true for us. We made the first notes on doing this in 1963. I was a resort in the Adirondacks, and I wrote some notes sitting in a big lodge looking out through birch trees at the lake, saying if I could do anything in the world I wanted to do, what would it be? And it was to have a resort, hospitality, to really have a place where people could come and get away.
You own the property?
We own the property, 275 acres on a dead-end road in a wildlife refuge with 7,000 feet on Watts Bar Lake, looking at the Smokies. So on clear days, we can see the Smokies. When I bought this property, you couldn't see the lake from anywhere on it unless you were standing right at the lake. This was all really thickly wooded with pine trees, so even in the winter with the leaves off, you couldn't see the lake because it's all hillside. And we started logging off here in '94, and I was shocked at the quality of the view.
Your rooms are bird-oriented. Is this by design?
Yes, it is. We were trying to come up with a theme, and we're right in the middle of a wildlife refuge, and we have a lot of birds in this area. So we chose a bird for each room, and then we had a designer come in and draw a picture depicting the bird, and then he made stained glass transoms. So at the entrance to every room in this house is a stained glass transom of that bird, and then we use the colors in the bird to decorate the room.
We wanted a place that was a place apart is one of those phrases that you'll see used often. And this is a place apart. You really can't see any other houses from the property. You can't see any night lights. And so Jean came up with the idea of having a drive-through barn as the entrance to the property, so you had a feeling that you'd come into something very special and set apart, a sanctuary, a refuge.
What you have seen thus far is what the Whitestone looked like in 1997. My, how things have changed. Oh yes, the elegant inn is still here, but where the tall grass once stood, nearly hiding the view of that inn, now stands this gazebo. It's just one of the many changes that Paul and Jean had in mind.
Well, the original plan kept evolving as I visited more and more inns and resorts around America. My wife says I measured all the hotel rooms that we went to. But I continued to refine the plan, and what you see now, the components were all here. The specific way they were applied changed through the years.
The chapel is more than just a chapel. This is a replica.
Of course, I'd been planning this place for 34 years, and I took the pictures of the chapel in 1968. That's an expanded version of the Anglican Church up at Rugby, Tennessee. That will seat about 100, but I went up there and said, now this is what the chapel ought to look like.
You're the minister?
I do the Sunday morning service, and I do about 25% of the weddings.
A lot of weddings here. We see activity today of a lot of weddings.
I have two weddings here today, which is just a little unusual, but we have an outdoor wedding at 5 and then a wedding in the chapel at 6:30.
Is this a favorite place for weddings?
We'll do about 120 weddings this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, the releasing of the doves are in memory of Philip's grandfather and uncle, and it's written back here in your program. So they will now release the doves in memory of those two folks.
Most people love it when a plan comes together. For Paul and Jean, this is not only a plan that has come together, it's a dream that has come together. Now, not too many people get that chance, and it's a fact that Paul and Jean are well aware of.
In 1963, when I made the first notes, I never imagined it this nice, but it's actually turned out better than I planned. But it is more than just a a casual dream. It was an obsession with life. It's what I wanted to do for 34 years. We've not taken it for granted. Every day when I get up, and, I live on the property, come down here and look around, I just thank God for the opportunity to have the life I do.